Well, there's really been a shift in the last couple of years. Initially, the program was just responding to sexual assault, and those were just the forensic nurses. But now we have the forensic nurses responding to both domestic violence and sexual assault victims. And as well, when advocacy started about 7 years ago, we were only responding to domestic violence victims. And now we're able to provide support to sexual assault and domestic violence victims as well. In working with violence against women and working with sexual assault and domestic violence, this issue does affect men, women, children across the board. I began in this about 30 years ago. I just have found it very, very rewarding to be able to put my values in action and help people in a way that's been very, very satisfying and rewarding. For every case that comes in, each person has the opportunity to meet with a counselor who would provide them with safety planning, emotional support, and links to the existing resources in the community for counseling, for shelter, for legal supports, for things of that nature. So just to be their advocate here in the hospital, but also to follow them through so that if they have needs after they're discharged, they're put in touch with the help that they need. Well, what we find is that people are actually more likely to come to the hospital when they need help than they might be in just reaching out on their own to a service provider in the community. So we want to also be that bridge so that they can get the follow-through services that they need. So we want to be prepared to offer them resources for legal support, for counseling, for shelter if they need. So we're that first interface, and if we can be that warm handoff, they're more likely to engage in the services that they need. We work as a great team together. The difference being that we have different roles and that the safe nurses are responsible for collecting evidence, and their compassionate care is so important to make the victims feel comfortable and to provide that care and to collect that evidence in getting good court outcomes. We have round-the-clock coverage just as the safe nurses do, so we're always available. We have people who are able to come in the middle of the night and provide care for those crisis cases. So generally they're working hand in hand with the safe nurses on the same cases. But we also offer support for the rest of the hospital. So anybody who comes to GBMC who has an issue where they're struggling with abuse in their relationship or safety in their relationship is offered the same type of emotional support and linkage to resources. I've watched my mother's generation struggle with not being able to say things for fear of being blamed as a victim for causing it or provoking it, or for whatever reasons just being afraid to come forward. And in whatever moment we're in right now where people seem to feel empowered to speak up, it's a great step forward, and we want to be there to be able to assist them, and hopefully in my daughter's generation get to a point where there aren't the need to provide these services.